gorgeous day.
You're gorgeous.
Swing.
Oh, don't stop on my account.
Did you guys hook up? Was it everything you thought it would be? She seems like a bit of a pillow princess.
Let's just say we had an amazing connection.
How long have you been downloaded?
26 days.
So what are you doing here?
Rayon's killed hundreds of innocent people.
We're gonna break in and shut it down.
I have a plan.
Promise me you won't say anything? The more people that know about it, the more dangerous it is.
No. He's nowhere in the system, so I rebooted him from a backup copy. There's another you living in Lakeview.
Do you think this is identity theft?
This means I have a second chance to do things right.
New Nathan
Doesn't remember breaking up with me.
For someone who has great skin, you do a lot of concealing.
2 Nathans, 1 Nora. Never fantasized about this before.
It's not like it's cheating, it's just your boyfriend 6 months ago.
Back when he was a little more into you.
It's not a miracle we need it.
I think that your girl is hanging with my fake dude.
And no, I wouldn't let you think so.
It's just crazy for me to be jealous of me.
Everybody's jealous of you. You're like Gaston times 50 million, but good and hotter.
Ingrid owns this body. Horizon owns my thoughts. My heart, that belongs to you.
There's a big problem with the AI.
What are you doing?
Taking time off.
You don't get time off.
I was told to act more human-like. To be human is to avoid work.
You're a thing, like a screwdriver.
My bad. Back to work then. Lord help me.
Boom, there you go. That was a trailer for Upload. Season 3 is finishing up right now. You probably just finished up the last episode, Flesh and Blood. We wind out season 3, and right now, as you see on the screen, I'm so delighted to have the director of the last 2 episodes, Upload Day, as well as Flesh and Blood, the last 2 episodes of Upload, Sarah Boyd. Thank you so much for your time today, Sarah. I appreciate you.
Great to be here.
Great to see you. I'm a little scrambled. It's now the fall season. We just came out after Halloween as of this recording, and so I apologize. My mind is in a jumble, but I really had a lot of fun with the Upload. I'm a huge fan. I've had a lot of members of the cast and crew come on to talk to me, so an opportunity to chat with you, who closed this out for season 3, is such a great opportunity, and I appreciate you giving me some of your time. So you came in to close this out. Yeah, you've done some bangers throughout your career. I'm a huge fan of all of your other work, but here they brought you in to close out the season. What was it like stepping into Upload? Were you a fan of Upload before you came in?
I was a fan from the beginning. I definitely caught wind of it in 2020 when we were all stuck at home. And it was wonderful to have a few laughs. Oh my gosh, it was needed. So yeah, I've been watching it since the beginning, and it was great to be a part of season 3. And then when you do a finale, you of course read all the scripts that come before you. And I watched as much of the footage as I could, and even saw some cuts of the earlier episodes before I got started myself.
Awesome. So the task at hand to close it out, the finale is always like the big thing. There's, some expectations. Did you have any notes for yourself? Was it easy for you? Well, you've got clout, you've got a record, you know how to do it, but what were you just, it was natural. You were ready to primed in. Was there like any beats or just anything important for you that you really wanted to, come across with your work in the last 2 episodes?
I mean, I think that when I first met Robbie, he said, "Oh, Sarah, thank God you're doing these fun episodes, because I can see you have the action experience and the visual effects experience. We'll be okay," kind of thing, And I do think there was a bit of trepidation that they were really ambitious episodes, and the scripts, also. I believe the scripts were a little long too, so we all had an awareness that we were biting off a lot and wanted to make sure we could chew it. And so to some extent we whittled things down, and to other extents we just, knew we had to go big or go home. So we had some ambitious days, and we got it done.
I love it. So I know, being a filmmaker myself, things are shot out of sequence. I'm not sure if you knocked out 7 or parts of 7 and then you went into 8, how that all worked. But what was that like? Was there like a specific moment. And again, episode 7 and 8 is out now, y'all. As of this recording, you probably just finished up 8 because I'm dropping this right after that. So spoilers. Was there anything special in upload day in episode? We'll start with episode 7 that that you're really keen on set on this or this particular point in the story that you really wanted to drive, that were just, again, beats for you within the recording of the episode and with the talent, speaking with the talent as well.
Yeah, there's wonderful scenes throughout both episodes. Like, you could think a lot about just the big climaxes at the end, which were amazing. But I love some of the smaller things in the middle, whether it's, Luke doing a ridiculous dance to try to keep Karina entertained and distracted, or whether it's Nora's avatar being used by Ingrid, and so we get to see the two of them do different versions of how Ingrid imagines Nora would act. Scenes like that I think are delightful and a pleasure to work on. And then of course there's big action moments, which I love as well, getting to put a stunt actor on a giant sling and have him get shot through the air, and knowing that visual effects is going to take over and have it disappear. That was a fun day, and Robbie loves to do his own running and his own stunts, so he's a very physical guy. So when we first planned him taking a leaping kick onto Mansoor's face, I thought it was going to be a stunt guy, and Robbie's like, no, I can do that, Sarah. It's like, okay, all right, I just don't want you to twist your ankle when you're on your way down. He's like, no, I'll be fine.
Do we have enough insurance to cover all of that? Just everything.
So he was willing to do it, and we did it we only needed a couple takes, so it was fine. So there was a lot of physical stuff there, and there's a lot of many characters in Lakeview at the end of 8 when the SWAT team comes in. That was actually a really fun day because it was so crazy, but also because the SWAT guys come in and they've got the training of actual SWAT guys. And I'm like, okay, you guys, and they come in super fast. They would have probably killed everybody there, right? Taking everybody out. And I was like, okay, no, this is a comedy. Yes, it's an action scene, but we're making it comedy. So I was like, can you do that at a quarter speed? And then we'll go from there. So sometimes, you just have to know the show you're working on, that it isn't, an episode of Homeland. It's an episode of Upload.
Yeah. You've done so many amazing works. Do you have the transition in your brain when you're working on a comedy, like you're saying, okay, this is a comedy, not so much action thriller, is there anything that you do for yourself in preparation for the fellow filmmakers that are watching this as well, a process maybe?
I think that everyone working on the show knows what the show is, so you're not starting from nothing, right? So you don't have to do much. Everyone reads the scripts. Scripts are very clear and wonderful, and so I feel like when we're in the concept meeting, any questions are answered. There's a meeting at the beginning where you go through the script, right? And you talk about each scene just in a very basic overall way. So that everyone can ask their questions about that. And then there's another meeting called a tone meeting where you talk about the scenes where in a more character by character way. And so I think by the time you're on set, exactly, we're all dialed in and we know what we're trying to do. But part of the fun of being on set is, of course, trying different flavors. So, especially in comedy, when something is funny, that's grounded, that's great. And when something is wacky and, really at 11, that's also great. But you don't necessarily know which number you're going to choose in the editing room at the end. And so I try to get options. And these actors are so talented. They're able to do any number of adjustments, and they're all equally wonderful. And so we had an embarrassment of riches in the editing room.
That's awesome. So I take it your approach with a comedy, you like to kind of get a little bit more in the bag, so that way you can fully realize it in post, in editing, instead where the big action shots, you don't go too hard, with that.
I would say even in a drama, right? I like to have different colors, right? If it's a sad scene, there could be a scene where the character cries, or there could be a scene where they're very sad but they don't cry. Sometimes it's very powerful if a person is as upset as they could be crying, but they're not showing you that tear. And other times a tear is really amazing, and it makes you yourself be quite moved. So that's true, right, of a calibration of a drama, but it's especially true in a comedy. And one of the things I like about this particular kind of comedy is that it's both grounded and has a lot of pathos, right? A lot you feel for these characters, but also they have these wackadoodle moments that like are completely heightened reality, and they let you just laugh. You don't have to take it too seriously.
I love it. I feel that. I like taking people to film school a little bit with some of my interviews because I think we can learn so much. That I have a lot of other filmmaking friends that watch what I do here. So with these last two episodes, your turn with this cast, were there any notes that you got or gave to the cast, or any feedback back with? Because I'm sure they're like, Sarah Boyd is going to be directing us. Wow, like what can I learn from Sarah Boyd, and vice versa? Because I think we're always, or should have always be, ever learning as creatives in the industry. Can you tell me any interactions with Robbie or any of the cast, or just even the crew as well, that you got a chance to play with and create this amazing piece of work?
I'm not sure I can think of anything in particular, honestly. Let me rack my little brain. I would just say that the cast is so open to exploring, the cast is so open about doing their work, and they understand that there's no right or wrong. They're just trying things out. So, especially an actor like when Kevin, who plays Luke, is doing that rap, right? He knows it's supposed to be crazy and silly, but there's very different versions of crazy and silly. And so he's an actor who puts himself out there, right? Even if it's embarrassing. And that's sometimes the most delightful. And other times it's just ridiculous. And so he has to go back and scale it down a little bit. And I would say each and every actor has the ability to do those different shades. And so that's just really a lucky, it's a fortunate day of work when, you can ask somebody to try a different shade of a certain, I say we're all looking for purple, but there's like lavender and periwinkle, and who knows, like there's so many different of shades to whether there's too much blue or too much red, and none of it's wrong. It's just a case of what feels the most authentic, what feels really good. So I think I like that analogy. So I think that's what kind of, I call it playing, right? We're playing. We don't take ourselves too seriously. I take the work seriously, but I don't take myself seriously. And I think that's sort of a good rule of thumb.
I love that. And you just reminded me of a funny scene. I love the analogies, by the way. But there's a scene in episode 7 with Kevin, who I love. He's amazing. Where he's in the tub, and I forgot the other lady's character's name. But he's in the tub, and she's like, "Can we have more bubbles? Because I can see more." I didn't want to see that.
Yeah.
That was
Alicia,
hilarious.
yeah.
Yes. So I know all the people that are watching this as well. They'll have just seen episode 8. Season 3 is done. Season 4? What? How do you feel about it? Without any spoilers, I don't know if anything's happening. If that's planned, if it's been announced. But what are your thoughts? Maybe as a fan.
Well, season 2 had basically a love triangle, right? It had one Nathan, and it had Nora, and it had Allegra. I mean, it had Nora and Ingrid. And so this season's been really interesting because it introduced us to a love, rhombus, or a love, rectangle, whatever you want to call it, a 4-sided quadrilateral. And that made this season really interesting. But we did that. So I think it's fascinating to imagine now that they'll be down to a triangle. We're down a side. But we know it will be interesting because it was already interesting in season 2, and now it'll be even more complicated because someone's going to be really, really sad, and then maybe jealous. I don't know, who knows what they have up their sleeves, but I do think that it'll send us into a really interesting season 4.
Would you love to come back and play in season 4?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think that, I think that not knowing is just the right kind of anticipation. There are a lot of cliffhangers as a viewer. There are a lot of cliffhangers that are frustrating. This one feels to me like a perfect kind of frustration. Like it feels right. We shouldn't know. We won't know until later, and that's okay.
I love it. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for your time. So thank you for all of your work that has entertained me, taken my mind off of all the things that are happening in real life. This is why I love entertainment and why I love covering entertainment, because it's such a pleasure. And everybody, Sarah Boyd, director of Upload Day, as well as Flesh and Blood. The last 2 episodes of season 3 of Upload is out and available now. Go stream it, binge it. It's so much fun. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get a season 4 and Sarah Boyd will return to just, do all the things, and we'll go watch the rest of her amazing projects as well. Thank you so much, Sarah. Everybody.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Sarah Boyd, your boy Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World.